Hey guys, this is Market Update. I do understand why people aren't excited to bid up the price of Bitcoin to 100K again. There's a lot of uncertainty over the next few weeks and months, but I'm pretty positive, and I just don't see the market playing out as it has before for various reasons, which I'll show you in this video. So before we get into it, I do have a discount for the course. If you type Bitcoin at checkout, you can get 20% off the course. You get free updates forever. I add to the course over time with market updates and new videos. You can ask me questions as well, see my portfolio and my trades and everything else. I'll link that down below. But look, we're in this little rejection here from the local resistance. That's fine. But some good news is that strategy are now going to be included in the MSCI indexes. They're not going to be booted out. They're going to remain in them. That's good news. That increases that passive bid into strategy. Strategy stock has outperformed Bitcoin over the last day or so as we come into this resistance. So they're going to be selling that stock to buy more Bitcoin. And there are buyers for Bitcoin. Bank of America turning on a 1 to 4% allocation from their advisors. There is a lot of potential buying during this period where things are soft. Now, we're in a bear market for attention and narrative and everything like that, but not for the price. And that's because the volatility is low and people only pay attention to volatility. But if you're here right now, the key is to remain in assets that outperform during low volatility times and when things aren't happening. That is the key to accumulate and compound. That's where you compound the amount that you have so that when the next move does happen, you benefit from that. Now, is the next move a massive downside move? Look, the way I see it is that, of course, at any given time, you have to know that risk assets can go down in price. I'll show you throughout this video why I think the macro is supportive. So I'm not really too worried about that. But just look at where we could potentially be. This is the long-term Bitcoin price here. We're at the trend rate of growth. So I'm not really worried at all. A massive bear market, worst case scenario, you come under the 200-week moving average. You've got 40% downside buying here. But we could easily double in price in a decent year. We went sideways last year. Bitcoin's 5-year annual rate of return has been about 40 to 50%, right? So you're looking potentially 80, 100% easily that Bitcoin could do if you just have a good year. So you're looking at 150, 180 this year. If not, Bitcoin's at the trend rate. So if you're accumulating the best assets, which I'll show you Bitcoin is, then this is where you buy it. Now, where you underperform is where Bitcoin's price is way overdone in relation to its trend. If you're buying at trend, what you're buying here is 40 to 50% annualized rate of return. If the price gets up here, you are not buying that. You're basically buying no return over that 5-year period because the price is above its trend. And if you look, if you're buying up here at previous all-time highs, you basically made no money between then and now because the price was too high. The price is not too high now. If you're an investor, if you genuinely want to save your money, if you've got a 5-year time horizon or something, then just buy everything that is at or under trend. And if you assume the asset continues to grow at 40 to 50% or even 30%, you're going to be outperforming everything else that you can put money in. Over the last 12 to 18 months, the whole entire conversation around crypto has definitely changed, right? It was early adopters, tech enthusiasts getting in, putting all of our ideologies onto crypto, like separating money from state and everything else. All of that's over now, right? We're in. We're all in now. The next stage is institutions advising their rich clients to get into this asset class. And they don't care about all of those narratives, right? But as of right now, a lot of the banks have been unable to advise clients on crypto, and that's just turning on. It was the other way. So if a client rang in and said, buy me crypto, they could do, but they couldn't advise the other way. A lot of people don't care about crypto, don't care about Bitcoin. They don't want to know about it, right? They're too wealthy, they're too busy. So the advisor coming in and saying, look, we need to put 2% of your portfolio in, like Bank of America is just going to start to do. That's good news. The bid is here. Don't worry about it, right? The bid is here. Worst case scenario, we go down to the 200-week moving average. So what, right? 18 months time horizon, 2-year time horizon. You're in the best performing asset. This thing is volatile. And when it breaks, it really does. So if we get a downturn, keep buying, right? The only time you don't buy, if you want to really time the market, is when Bitcoin is crazy at all-time highs, like I said. So if you go back to the long-term chart, if we're here or if we're here, you're not going to be making very good returns buying there. But if you're at trend, keep going, right? This is where you make returns. It's the best performing asset with gold over the last 5 years. So we're doing quite well. Now, you have to buy something. We know the dollar in orange here, the purchasing power will debase over time. That's just par for the course. The Fed was established in 1913 specifically to print money. once you get the printer out, you can't stop, right? So purchasing power goes down and down and down and down. That's going to continue. And what that means is all markets are fake, because all markets should go up. And if your market is going down in nominal terms, you're getting absolutely destroyed. So if you're in TLT, the bond index, you're down 42% nominally. If you're in international real estate, VNQI, which is this one, you're down 13%, which inflation adjusted is just absolutely destroyed. US real estate, VNQ, 8%. Really, the hurdle rate is the S&P here for savings, right? So if you're in long-term savings, 5-10 years, you should be 80% or more. So NASDAQ, gold, and Bitcoin outperforming. I don't see any reason why they don't continue to outperform over the next 5 or 10 years. We're in the best asset. As long as we're not at crazy all-time highs, you just keep buying it and you keep getting those returns. I'm going to take the other side of the trade to a lot of macro analysts who think that US interest rates are going to blow out as manufacturing and activity comes back on shore. I don't think that will happen because the government currency is manipulated. It's not a real free market asset. It's issued and controlled by the government and the central bank, who are supposed to be independent, but they're not, right? Bring manufacturing back into the US. Look, this is the Chinese 10-year yield over the last 30 years. China has been through the biggest economic boom and huge manufacturing boom. They built cities out of nowhere, right, over the last 30 years. Their 10-year yield went from 3 to 4% in a range. That was it. The current US 10-year yield is 4%. What's everyone worried about? All but interest rates might go up. Yeah, and they'll print money and they'll control the long end because that's what they do. They'll do anything they can to control those interest rates. So why are you trading against a government that's going to do that? It is par for the course. It is normal for a government currency to be completely manipulated, printed, for them to control bond rates and everything else. You can see it, right? 1913, the Fed was established to print money. So that's what it does. It prints money, controls interest rates, everything else. After 2008, what did the Fed do? Because the housing market blew up. They printed money and they bought all of the mortgage-backed securities. Well, we're in fiscal dominance now. The Fed's kind of done everything it can. Now you go back to the government side, who is just taking up the mantle. I'm going to buy $200 billion of mortgage bonds. What does that do? Increases liquidity, brings down rates, stimulates the market. Prices are going to go higher on this because you're stimulating demand. You're trying to lower interest rates, lower the interest rate, make credit more available. That stimulates the market and stimulates prices higher, valued in that currency. Inflation is a great thing if you've got debt. If your interest rate is 8% and inflation is 100% and your house price is going up and up and up because of inflation and your assets are going up because of inflation, great news. You only have currency because it's debt, right? You take out the currency in debt. You have your liability in debt. And so inflation is a good thing if you have debt. It's a very, very good thing. It makes your debt cheaper. If you're saving in currency, you're making a big mistake, but you're not, right? You know, assets are actually money and the dollar is debt, and so it will debase. And if you have debt, you actually want debasement. You actually want inflation because it makes your life much easier and it reduces the actual cost of your debt over time. That's what the government does. That's what all we should want as well. We actually want rates for inflation. We want inflation to go higher, right? Inflation is a good thing if you've got debt. GDP is also going through the roof. Now, obviously, this is not a recession because GDP is insanely high. This is good news for the debt to GDP ratio. Now, why is this happening? Apparently, this is a mechanical thing. So you can see here, they cut the US trade deficit in half, lowest in nearly 2 decades. How's that bad? That's great news. Now, that was because of tariffs. Here we have productivity as well, which is insanely good news for the market if you're in assets. Market productivity surges to 4.9%. Labor costs went down 1.9%. If you're in assets, that's pretty good news. Productivity is good because it means inflation remains low, which means you can just turn on the money printer. Now, in terms of the GDP going so high, from a GDP accounting perspective, weaker imports mechanically narrow the trade deficit and can artificially support headline GDP in the near term because imports are subtracted in the net exports term. Now, tariffs have essentially pushed GDP a lot higher. However, tariffs can weaken domestic demand and activity in the medium term, but they're also cutting cutting tax rates as well, no tax on tips, etc. Look, these guys are handling things, and the market doesn't know how to price it because before it was just the Fed. So everyone knew that real economic activity in the US is just going down and down and down, right? No more manufacturing, that's going down. But then you just have the Fed, and as long as they're printing, as they're coming out, cut rates, print money, cut rates, print money, you can just see that in markets. That's not happening anymore. It's fiscal dominance. It's going to GDP is going to tariff rates and everything like that. And that's why this bull market is so unpredictable and very, very choppy. It's because tariffs on, tariffs off, this policy, that actually changes the outlook. They're going to try their best to narrow the deficit, raise GDP, run GDP hot, and debase the currency and inflate markets, pricing, stimulus. And that's what the government are doing. It's fiscal dominance. It's a different market to trade. But the end result is exactly the same. The US dollar is going to debase. It's credit. You want inflation. You want your debt to become cheaper. And you want to own as many assets as you want. And in terms of assets, Bitcoin, gold, NASDAQ, and S&P, they're the outperformers. So any mix of those. If you've got the crypto course, the January updates are in the course already. So you guys can go and watch them. If you don't have it, I'll leave the discount below. Type Bitcoin. You get unlimited access to the course forever, all the updates and everything else. You can ask me questions in the Discord server as well if you want. I'll leave the link below in the description. I'm James, it's ManagerG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.